This is Michigan embedded correspondent John Solberg, and you are listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the really big BBQ Central Show, a show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. If you want to jump in on the show tonight, I'm happy to have you. Got a couple open slots for you directly that I will mention here in a few minutes. But if you know what you want to talk about, here's your contact info.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening. It is the second Tuesday of a brand new month of February. And you know that means that the creator of the most heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website on the face of the earth, by the way, entertaining more than 2 million page views per month, that is documented from the lips of the creator himself. Meathead from AmazingRibs.com will join us, and we have the 14 and 35 past segments per usual with Meathead, not the least of which we will be covering how to ensure your good luckedness this coming Thursday as we prepare you for Valentine's Day. Hopefully first in the kitchen, and then, just like the kitchen, no rules in the bedroom or the kitchen. Hopefully we've given the latter part a little bit of a push as we help you with the former. And Meathead will be here to talk about it. We will also talk about other items. I don't want to tip my hand too much. I want to bring Meathead into the fold and have him react organically. But if you follow me on social media, you know what I'm talking about. And yes, I did make up a word, good luckedness. That I knew. That's not a true Rempeism. That's a plant. I knew I was going to say that incorrectly. It's funny. Sometimes it happens organically. Sometimes I know I'm just going to say something stupid. That's one that I knew I was going to say something stupid. So there's your first hour. Second hour, first timer to the show, a man who is in the meat business of barbecue, of grilling, both from a traditional retail location and then also supplying meat to some of the most elite teams on the competition circuit out there today, and he's been doing it for a handful of years. I am, of course, talking about the brand newest sponsor of the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less from the butcher shop. Kevin Green will be joining me, baby. So very excited to talk to Kevin for the first time here on air. And boy, is that exciting. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about Kevin with. Meats, trends, topics, histories, camel. I said camel. That was not a mistake. If you are into camel, if you have always wanted to get down with camel, and you're like, Rempe, for the longest, I have been trying to get down on camel, but I could not find a vendor that is reputable. I have no idea where this is coming from. Sometimes I do Google searches on the dark web, the dark Googles, and it's still coming up with nothing. Where do I go to get my camel fix? I just happen to have the guy, Kevin Green from the Butcher Shop, Shoppe, can be found on Facebook. Dial a number, not online otherwise, no website. We'll talk about that. He has camel. So if you are that guy or gal who's been Googling your face off trying to find that luscious, succulent piece of camel, Kevin Green is your guy. Reputable, vetted, all that. He's doing business with me. You know you can count on him. He's coming through in the clutch. The camel clutch. So Kevin's got your... We'll talk about that, too. There's your show. We're open, too, if Kevin can't carry two segments. Not saying that I put the onus on him, but if we carry into a second segment with Kevin, which I would imagine we would because there's just an inordinate amount of topics to cover and takes to get from a guy in the meat biz from all facets, then we'll open it up to your reaction as well. Meathead first hour, Kevin Green second hour. Your phone calls and emails sprinkled through. Don't forget you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook, where you can also find a live video feed. Now, I'm not sure if you folks follow competitive eating or not. Quite frankly, it's really not that great of a watch for any number of reasons other than to watch normal humans cram themselves full of whatever food they're eating in the singular hope that they will vomit all over themselves publicly on stage for all of us to see. I think that is competitive eating's most embarrassing moment. It's the most embarrassing thing that can happen while a contest is actually happening. Joey Jaws Chestnut has been far and away the best and most recognized competitive eater the sport has seen in its lifetime, and it's not even close. He's won the hot dog eating event, which is the pinnacle contest of the year, July 4th weekend, for the past 8 years in a row, maybe longer, who cares? He's broken his own record a number of times during that time frame. Joey has appeared on this show, actually, a few times before, talking about the hot dog wins and what it takes to be a top competitive eater. If you can believe it, it takes something other than a huge stomach and the willingness to cram stuff down your face and swallow. There are training regimens that you need to do in order to be a top competitive eater. And if you aren't familiar with what these people put in their bodies and what they are putting their bodies through, let me give you an example of what Jaws did just this past weekend. You know, the ever-popular National Red Beans and Rice food eating contest. That took place this past weekend in New Orleans, where red beans and rice is very popular, very traditional. Times vary depending on event, and that being the amount of time you have to eat said food. A hot dog event typically throws down in that 10-minute range. Most of them are around that 10-minute range. The red beans and rice event was 8 minutes. Within that time frame, do you have any idea what Joey put back in the amount of red beans and rice in 8 minutes? Do you have any idea whatsoever? Let me help you with that. After the 8th minute came and went and the contest drew to a close, Joey Chestnut had consumed himself singularly 24 pounds and 11 ounces of red beans and rice. That's right, 24 pounds in 8 minutes. Can I report this to you in an entirely different fashion and still boggle your mind? Yes, I can, because I'm a professional. For point of reference, the average man needs to eat 2,500 calories in order to maintain their weight that they are currently at. That's 2,500 calories. Over the course of a 24-hour period, Jaws ate 34,000 more calories than that. And he did it in 8 minutes. And he did not throw up. What does he get for such a feat? How about $1,500? Not bad for 8 minutes of work. And whatever stomach discomfort will visit him later on that weekend. Hell, that pays more than most barbecue contests pay for grand champion and way less time to invest. This is an incredible eating accomplishment. Totally gross, but totally incredible. Way to go, Joey, friend of show. And I think Sam, the cooking guy, and I were supposed to have a hot dog eating contest on the show a while back. I have to see about getting that back on the things to do list with Sam, the cooking guy, assuming he doesn't stiff me again. Just to recap, 8 minutes, 24 pounds and 11 ounces of red beans and rice, which equals 36,268 calories. Might want to mix in a run after that, or two, or a half marathon. But if you're a fan of the show and you've heard the Joey Chestnut interviews prior, you know that's his deal. Doesn't throw up, doesn't rent the food, digests it, stays active, visit the doctor 4 or 5 times a year. They do all the blood work, make sure everything's in order. He's healthy. He's collecting $1,500 for putting on 24 pounds in 8 minutes. That's a whole nother way to think about it. He put on 24 pounds. That's putting on more weight than those freaks on My 600-Pound Life. They take a week or two to put on 25 pounds. He took 8 minutes. Joey Chestnut, national treasure. You can't argue that. Right, before we get to Meathead, let me talk to you quickly about the BBQ Guru. They've always believed that outdoor cooking should be easy and fun because it can be, especially with the Monolith BBQ Guru Edition grill. That's right, if you're looking for a ceramic cooker, you've seen all the other ones. Now, look at the one that's the first temperature-controlled smoker with a built-in power draft fan. That's right, if you have a BBQ Guru controller, all you have to do is hook it up to the Monolith, and you're off and running. You don't even need a new controller or anything. The fan is built in. You heard me right. Easily choose your cooking time and temperature. Let the Monolith do the work of a sous chef or a barbecue pitmaster. With minimal effort, you now have oven-like precision at the grill. You can serve the tastiest, juiciest meals each and every time. If you have any other questions or you have other ceramic cookers, or you're looking for really cool accessories for your ceramic cookers, like the rib ring, you give them a call, 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. Or you can visit their website, peruse their inventory, bbqguru.com. That's bbqguru.com. Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Joey Chestnut still working off 24 pounds of red beans and rice 3 days later. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils, wild seasoning for game, all of Butcher Barbecue products tested on the competition circuit, as well as backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Always trust your butcher. Doug Scheiding saying in the chat room that $1,500 sounds like a barbecue contest. And while I would be anxious to agree with that thought initially, remember that Joey Chestnut is typically flown to events, expense-free, given an appearance fee as well, and then if he wins the contest, takes the purse as well. So the $1,500 check that you see might only pale in comparison to the expenses that were picked up and the appearance fee that he gets. I'm not saying that that's exactly what happened in this particular New Orleans trip, but it was not uncommon for him to get all the expenses and an appearance fee, and if he won the event, to get the purse as well. Okay, competitive eating done. We race to the hotline and welcome back friend of show and the creator of AmazingRibs.com, Meathead. Hey, Meathead.
Hello, Greg. How are you doing? How are the Centralites tonight?
We are ready to go. I just recounted a story, Meathead, of Joey Chestnut, the most famous competitive eater. Can you imagine for 1 sec, like on your best day, Meathead, when Meathead was trim, slim, and appetite that was ready to ravage the world, could you see yourself ingesting 25 pounds of red beans and rice in 8 minutes?
No.
Never.
Not under any circumstances.
What about
I do love hot dogs.
I was going to say, how many hot dogs do you think you could put away in 10 minutes realistically?
3, 4.
Wow.
I mean, in the airports when I'm traveling, that's where I always look forward to grabbing a hot dog when I'm on the fly in an airport. But no, that's crazy. Part of me says it's obscene, it's disgusting, it's gross. And the other part of me says, damn, he's an athlete, man.
Truly an athlete. I mean, this guy has conditioned his body in a way. It's not like everybody. It's not your traditional athlete, but he has done it in a way where he is able to cram down incredible amounts of food by the multiple pounds in very short time. And I guess the thing that separates him from what he's told me is that while a number of the other competitive eaters are quickly hustling themselves off stage to give themselves a reversal of fortune, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. He sits down and ingests all of the calories and digests all of the calories, sees a doctor 5-6 times a year to make sure he's not putting himself at a health deficit, and continues to be the most prolific eater of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely. All right, Meathead is here from AmazingRibs.com. And, Meathead, I wanted to lead with this because you're somewhat of a historian of the show. We have been together now for, 10, 11, maybe even 12 years of doing the show together. And
You're my internet wife.
Yes, I am your internet wife, or at least common law. We spent so much time together. It's got to be common law at worst. I wanted to play for you, I guess, what I, over the course of this show, would consider to be the most controversial statement ever made on the face of the earth on this show, and I want you to also evaluate this. Stand by for this.
You bastard. A grilled pineapple margarita. Everybody who is into grilling knows. I'm just going to come out and say it.
All right.
Of everything you can put on the grill, nothing in this world, animal, vegetable, mineral, is better than a pineapple. God almighty, I love grilled pineapple.
What? Meathead, I have to look back at our 10 years of doing interviews together and hold everything in question that you said. I can't believe that the best thing coming off of a grill on any side of anything is pineapple?
Have you ever just grilled a slice of pineapple?
Of course I have. And never once
fantastic?
have I thought that this could be the best thing I've eaten off a grill. No way. Prime rib is better. Every steak is better. Chicken is better. Turkey is better. Pizza is better. Meathead, you are off your medicine. We might have to call an end to this whole goddamn thing now. Oh, my God. I'm a buzz. What do you think about that? Most controversial statement ever made on this show.
God help me.
I have to tell you, Meathead, as a person who tracks what sticks with the show and what doesn't stick with the show, this pineapple thing has literally lasted 4 weeks to the point of where I promoted the show. And this, let me pull this up. This is what I got for show promotion. A number of people tell Meathead I tried his recipe for Chicago Italian beef. It was delicious. Somebody follows up with, did it call for pineapple in the recipe? Somebody else posts underneath it. Diane Me in the Pacific Northwest. Pineapple grilling demo in Puyallup, Washington. Outdoor cooking championship with 15 turn-ins. And there were a number of pineapple turn-ins. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. Meathead, he's ejected. Get that big stuff out of here. Hold on. Perhaps we've cut him to the. Were you trying to quit the show just then, Meathead? I'm not even done yet.
No, I tried to zoom in on that thing you put on the screen, and I somehow cut.
So here's a guy that was doing rotisserie pie. Now, that absolutely looks delicious. I got to be honest. No doubt about it. But again, as somebody who tracks what sticks with the show, the pineapple comment is something that I think we might never see such legs out of a statement again. So congratulations.
This is going to be on my tombstone, isn't it?
It has to be a hedonism expert, meat whisperer, and best thing to come off a grill is pineapple.
Yeah, I mean, like Harvey Weinstein, he's got his tombstone written, and now I have mine.
There you go. Well, I do think it's actually a badge of courage to wear when something can run that many weeks in a row with somebody bringing it up. It's absolutely fantastic.
But it is delicious. And all right, so let's just 30 seconds more riff on it.
Yes.
I've had great fun painting it with liqueurs, like you get a little amaretto and paint that slice of pineapple with amaretto. I've had great fun putting it on ice cream. I have a maple bourbon sauce that I've done with pineapples on top of ice cream. Grilled ham and pineapples, always
delicious. Yep.
Always a classic. You can do pound cake on the grill very easily. I mean, you can just buy a piece of pound cake. If you want, you can drizzle a little rum or something on it and throw it on the grill and get some grill marks on it and some flavor with some grilled pineapple. Just wonderful. I went to Hawaii a year ago. First vacation I've had in years. My wife and I went to Honolulu. Hung out on Waikiki Beach, drove around the island. Hard to believe by looking at me. When I was in high school and college, I had a flat stomach, and I used to surf a lot and on Cocoa Beach, small wave surfing. But I always wanted to surf the North Shore. And we drove up to the North Shore, and son of a gun, there was a surf contest going on at Pipeline.
Wow.
I was just ecstatic. That night, we went to Michael Mina's restaurant in Waikiki. Mm-hmm. Michael Mina is a chef of consequence, if you don't know the name.
Oh, yeah.
He has a restaurant in San Francisco, I believe, another one in Vegas, and he's got one in Honolulu. It's a lovely place. And for dessert, instead of bananas Foster, he did pineapples Foster.
Oh, wow.
And I taped it, and it's on my YouTube channel. And it looks just spectacular. I haven't tried it at home, but it doesn't look hard. But basically, I took a half a pineapple and scooped it out and did the bananas Foster routine with the pineapple. And we went straight to heaven. I mean, it's, basically pineapple is just sugar and flavor. And it caramelizes so easily. So I'll stand by it. I mean, God knows I love my steaks. I love my lamb chops. I love my burgers. I love hot dogs. But gee willikers, pineapple was just an out-of-body experience for me.
Well, I mean, you must love it, no doubt about it. We're talking with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. So, Meathead, we have a very sensual holiday coming up here on Thursday. It is Valentine's Day, and now, while we can't necessarily guarantee victory, if you know what I mean, we want to make sure that we're putting our fellow mates here in the best possible positions. That's guys or gals. I mean, we are equal opportunity supporters here.
Wait a minute.
What?
You're watching every word so carefully, and you just said putting our mates in the best possible position. Is that what you just said?
I said that.
Want to hear that played back.
That's right. I said that.
I hear that played back.
Our mates in the best possible position. That's what I said. I meant to say that. So let's talk about the beginning of the evening, which, of course, is food. And you've said on any number of occasions, Meathead, that as the creator of AmazingRibs.com, you have gotten emails that have thanked you for making somebody the recipient of good luckedness, as I said earlier in this top of the hour. So let's talk about best meals of Valentine's Day, or perhaps what you might be having on the menu this coming week.
Well, I mean, it's true, Greg, and I wasn't exaggerating. Very frequently, maybe a couple of times a month, I get emails from readers who say, I cooked my wife some ribs the other night and I got laid. Or I cooked my boyfriend ribs and all he could do was cry. I mean, seriously, these are almost direct quotes from the emails I get. The old saying about the way to a man or a woman's heart is through the stomach.
Yeah.
Great food. Feeding someone is absolutely the second most intimate act we do as humans.
Sure.
I'm trying to pick my words carefully here, but you are in both cases putting something into somebody. You are. You're putting food into. You're nourishing.
Right.
You're giving them life. It is a truly loving and intimate act, and for that reason, I think I know people who don't know how to cook. I know an 80-year-old woman who's just the nicest lady nearby, and she can't boil water without burning it. I just don't understand how you can go through life without knowing how to cook and knowing how to feed. My wife and I sit down to dinner, and almost every night we look at each other and say, boy, do we eat well. Just because, and by the way, I'm the second best cook in the house. Back to Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day.
By the way, that is Friday. I said Thursday on accident. It's Friday.
Thank you. You're not going to get a table at a restaurant on Friday.
No. And Thursday, the reason I made the mistake is because Thursday is my middle daughter, the one that you met in Chicago. That's her birthday. She will be 17, so we shout out Maddie right there.
Doesn't look it.
That's right. All right, so Friday is Valentine's Day. And as you said, it's going to be tough to go out anyway, so let's do it the right way at home.
Well, all right. There are numerous foods that are reputed to be aphrodisiacs. I don't think anything has been proven to be an aphrodisiac. But at the top of the list is oysters. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, how do we talk about these things without getting over the line?
Are you an oyster guy? Like, I've tried oysters 3 or 4 times, and I know you said you would be fish head if you weren't meathead and you stayed down closer to the water, but I've tried it 3 or 4 different times, and maybe I'm not doing something right, or maybe you just love them or you hate them.
Yeah, that's it. You either love it or you hate them. It's like liver.
Yeah.
You either love it or you hate it. They're slimy. All right, I'll try to get it out as close as I can without being risque.
That's all right. We're not FCC regulated, Meathead, so just let it fly.
That's all right. I'm an old fart, and my daddy told me, find a woman who likes oysters and marry her.
All right.
It's a texture thing. All right. I'll just let it go at that.
Right.
The flavor is wonderful. I was raised in Florida on both coasts, on the Atlantic coast and the Gulf Coast. And I used to love to go to New Orleans when I was in college. And fresh, clean, briny oysters are just absolutely delicious to me. Raw. But if that grosses you out, they really grill nicely. And the technique is you've got to pop open the shell. And there's a technique for doing that. I've got step-by-step pictures on AmazingRibs.com. But you pop open the shell, and you take the top half off. And that's the flat side. There's a flat side and a hump side. You take the flat side off, and it'll stick to the bottom side, and it'll sit there swimming in what they call the liqueur, the liquor, I should say, the juices. And there's restaurants all along the Gulf Coast that do this. This is not an original recipe. But you splatter it with some crushed garlic, some Tabasco or hot sauce, maybe some grated Parmigiano Reggiano, and you put it on the grill so that curved edge sits between the grate so it doesn't tip over. You don't want to lose the liquid. And then you put a dome over like a steel bowl over the top of them, And what the French would often do is they would actually cook these oysters on a bed of hay, clean hay, please. But you can actually throw wood chips or hay or whatever. You just kind of want to make a puff of smoke as fast as you can because they cook quickly in a minute or two.
Oh.
You're not cooking them to well done. You're just giving them a puff of smoke. And so you want to create as much smoke as you can and capture it in that bowl. You can close the lid on your grill or on your kettle or whatever you've got, but a bowl right on top really catches that smoke and puts it in contact with the meat, and it gives it this wonderful, lovely flavor. Smoke really goes well with oysters. And in fact, if you want to go to the extreme, you can take them out of the shell and lay them on top of a grill topper. The frog mats are really good for this. The frog mats, if you don't know, are like window screen, only they're coated with a non-stick material.
They're spun fiberglass, actually.
Is that what they are?
Yep.
Okay, and they're pretty non-stick, and you can lay them on top of these frog mats and toss them in your smoker and smoke them so that they shrivel up a bit, but they come out like the smoked oysters you get out of the can. And I've done that, and then I've put them inside of little puff pastry with a sliver of lemon. In fact, we take the lemon and I put it in a frying pan with simple syrup, which is sugar and water equal parts. And the lemon goes in there and it gets really sweet. And then you lay that on top of the oyster and put it in puff pastry and back on the smoker or Big Green Egg, which is an oven type situation. And you get these wonderful little puff pastries with smoked oysters and candied lemon in there. Just spectacular. If that doesn't buckle your lover's knees, I don't know what will.
Is that it for the evening, or is that like a start and then we go into a main course? And, you know, I often wonder, like, how heavy do you want to get?
I don't understand the question.
Like food-wise, do you want to do like 3 or 4 courses, and is it real thick and decadent and blah, 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 where you're kind of running yourself down into the ground by the time you've finished all that food?
You're not asking me a food technique question. You're asking me a lover technique question.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at all angles here. I mean, you want to satiate the food palate, but then you also want to be nimble enough if the opportunity presents itself to take care of the situation.
Greg, this conversation is going down in infamy. Nimble enough.
Right.
I would think you'd want to keep it light. I don't think, maybe stay with the seafood. A smoked fish. Gosh, I was just corresponding with Robert Moss, who works for Southern Living magazine, and he was writing about Florida barbecue, and there's no such thing. And I had to write it back and said, dude, smoked mullet. If you've ever been down the west coast of Florida, a lot of about smoked mullet.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
It's a thing, and basically it's a piece of fish a little bigger than a trout, but they butterfly it, open it up, and they season it, and they pop it in the smoker, and you don't over smoke it, and it comes out. And it's not normally a great fish. It's kind of like bluefish on the East Coast. It's kind of oily, and if you just grill it, it's kind of not special. But smoked, it turns out special. And it's an interesting fish in that it's a vegetarian. It doesn't bite on shrimp or other bait. It's kind of like carp. You catch it with vegetal. But that might be a good choice, or maybe a smoked salmon or something, going light. It depends on your lover. Hey, ribs? I mean, dude, there is not a person on the face of the earth that I have encountered that doesn't love ribs.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could be last meal ribs just to really get it going.
Well, the name last meal ribs, which is the recipe that I have, which is just your basic barbecue ribs technique concept, which when we first published it was like, really? I always boiled ribs. I think we've had an impact on people, and we've taught them how to smoke ribs properly. And the name came from a reader who said that she served it to my boyfriend, and he said, "This is what I want for my last meal on earth." So, last meal ribs. Just good old barbecued smoked ribs or something like that you eat with your fingers. Now you're talking sensual.
Right.
I mean, God, I did beef ribs tonight, and my wife sat there with a steak knife and cut them off the bone. I'm whispering because she's not far away. I mean, it's disgraceful.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Wow, Mrs. Meathead, come on.
Yeah. Grounds for divorce after 45 years? I don't know. But
let's not be so quick on the trigger here, Meathead.
but and eating with your hands. Now that's sensuality there, isn't it? That's and licking your fingers, maybe having someone else lick your fingers. Oh,
whatever works, right?
Oh,
all right, so we're giving you a lot of great tips here because Friday is happening sooner than later. We're talking with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Meathead, stand by. We're going to come back and talk Facebook questions here in just a second. As he collects himself, tries to get himself out of divorce court. Unless he's got 5 or 10 honeys lined up. I mean, you never know how Meathead operates. Let me talk to you quickly about Sterling Ball and Big Poppa Smokers. That's right. Head on over, BigPoppaSmokers.com, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. You know their rubs and seasonings. 13 perfectly balanced flavors to impress judges and friends alike. They also have a great relationship with Steph Franklin over at Simply Marvelous Barbecue. Put Big Poppa's and Simply together, and you have the West Coast offense. That's been doing well on the competition side of things for years. But hell, I've decided to use it in my backyard. I'm winning my own grand championships with friends and neighbors alike. They also own Granny's barbecue sauce, so if you are looking for something else in the sauce world, you might want to give Granny's a shot. I think you're going to like it. They're also doing the sales of pellet, charcoal, and wood cookers. If you're looking for an easy cooker that's versatile, check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Meathead cooks on one. Big Poppa cooks on one. Darren Worth cooks on one. Big Poppa's the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages that nobody else online can do it. If you're not a fan of pellet smokers, no problem. You can check out the Old Hickory Ace BP, the only charcoal smoker that Big Poppa trusts on his competition trailer. If you're not sure of what grill you need, you really can't go wrong with any of the grills or smokers featured on BigPoppaSmokers.com. They have something for every kind of backyard cook. Check out their website for their full selection. Right now, do it. Call them with questions, 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop the website at BigPoppaSmokers.com. That's BigPoppaSmokers.com. All right, we are back with more Meathead from AmazingRibs.com right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
This portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers, and a great resource for pellet knowledge in general. Visit CookinPellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit Amazon.com to buy as well. And we rejoin Meathead from AmazingRibs.com as we segue out of the romantic talk and get more into the nuts and bolts of answering barbecue and grilling-related questions. And Meathead has found the traditional camera shot as we look back at the science of barbecue and grilling there off to your right-hand shoulder as well.
Oh, man. You know, as if your questioning wasn't traumatic enough.
Right.
Immediately after you went to commercial, I lost all contact with you. Everything went down. I've been having a little problems with my Bluetooth connections and stuff.
Dear.
I had to log off, reboot, and come back on, and I finally got the camera moving. I mean, this was just like Panic City down here, dude.
Well, everything was great. Nope, we didn't even know you left. You were right there on time as we come back in. So
I
here
got
we
my
go.
camera working properly.
All right, you ready to field some Facebook questions here, or do you have anything to add to the previous conversation before we mosey on?
No, I just need a drink.
All right, here we go. And what do you got in the back right next to the book there? Is that a port?
Oh, I'm drinking Kopke ports. My local wine merchant had a port tasting. Unbelievable. I have a nearby wine merchant. She had a tasting of like 50 ports. I've never seen a wine shop that had more than 8 or 10. And I love port in the winter. Port is a sweet fortified red wine. It's got a little brandy in it, a red wine from Portugal. And we tasted a whole bunch of them. I bought a mixed case, and this is a 10-year-old late bottle vintage Kopke, and it's just wonderful.
So if it's fortified, does that mean eventually it will go bad, or does it stay good quite a while?
No, they last forever. Fortified is just wine jargon for brandy has been added. And, of course, brandy is alcohol, and alcohol is a preservative.
So is brandy and vermouth then?
There is a little bit, yes.
Oh, all right, because I always see vermouth as being fortified wine.
Yeah.
So
port is typically 20% alcohol or so. Vermouth is typically in the 17% range, and most table wines are in the 10 to 12% range.
All right, here we go with some Facebook questions. First one's from John House, and it says, Greg, curious if you could ask Meathead why he and the crew at AmazingRibs.com don't have a larger YouTube presence with so many other YouTube contributors in the barbecue world. Why doesn't AmazingRibs.com devote a little more to their presence and valuable content that they already have to offer? I know they have some on YouTube, but was just wondering if expanding the YouTube presence wouldn't be a bad idea for bigger business and perhaps more new members into the Pitmasters Club.
That's a good question. We have about 100 videos on YouTube, but it's nothing like Malcolm Reed, who is just king of YouTube. I love Malcolm's videos. He's the best.
Yep.
I know he's a regular guest on your show, and we're starting to work with him and do more stuff. He's going to be at our meetup in Memphis. I try very hard during these shows not to be commercial, but I want to make a quick plug. Grinning. Look at you grinning.
I love when people start off sentences with "I'm not this" or "I blah blah," and then they hit the "but," which means you're about to wipe out everything you just said. Just lead with what you want to say. Go ahead. Yeah. We're all friends here.
All right. Well, no, it's true, though. But, I don't normally try to promote. But we have this conference coming up. There's never been a barbecue conference for consumers. National Barbecue Association has a great conference for the trade. But this is coming up in end of summer, July 31st through August 2nd at the Peabody Hotel in Memphis. And just go to AmazingRibs.com. There's links that'll take you to information about it. But it's going to be a great weekend. 400 capacity. We've sold 300 tickets, and there's about 30 or 40 we need just for our team. So there's only about 50 tickets left. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be really educational. Now, what brought that response on? The question was
YouTube.
Oh, right. I am a stickler for quality in everything, writing recipes, cooking, website production, and everything. And I'm just not going to stand in front of a smartphone and go, well, we're going to grill this up over here and throw that over there. And that's just not my style.
Was that a cut on the Barbecue Pit Boys?
Who?
The Barbecue Pit Boys?
I've never heard of them.
All right.
If we're going to do video, we're going to do it right. And the videos that I have done have been done right, with 2 cameras, with a director, with a sound person, and I've done a few things with an iPhone mounted on a remote and stuff. I'll try to do more of them, but I just want to do quality video production if we're going to do it. We have an interesting scheme that we're working on that will produce a lot more videos. But it's not there yet. We're just brainstorming it now, and I can't talk about it. I'd like to do more, but I'm just not going to do crap.
I think any videos that you do going forward has to have the hot chick that you typically have with you, that Jenny girl. I mean, she is absolutely the best. Hot, super hot. And, I mean, you guys play so well off of each other. She's very complimentary to your personality. She asks good questions, allows you to be the expert, but seems to be asking the question that, as I'm looking at it, goes, I wonder, and then boom, she's right there with I don't know how scripted that is, or she's just naturally witty, but you guys are a great pair.
I'm flattered you think so. She is a very, very nice lady and very, very easy on the eyes.
Very easy.
She's out of Boston. She does some food work on television in Boston. And she came out here to my place. We met, and 30 minutes later, we were on the air.
Wow.
I scripted all those videos. I wrote them and scripted them, and they were really my debut. I had never done... I'm not Steve Raiklen. I'm not natural in front of the camera. I don't do a lot of video, but it worked out. She was really a joy to work with, and a coach. She, when the camera switched off, she would tell me what to do and how to move and stuff. So I'd like to do more. I'd like to bring her out and do more with her. We have another plan afoot, and we'll see.
Have you ever had beef cheeks? Smoked beef cheeks?
Yes, I have.
What do you like about
it? Pork cheeks are called guanciale, and they're usually treated like bacon. And beef cheeks are similar. It's a really tough cut because they work a lot.
Yep.
But they cure nicely. And so I've had good luck with treating cheeks and beef tongue, like corned beef. So you got to peel the outer skin, the outer layer off. The cheeks is not very thick, and you cure them. You give them a Prague powder #1 cure, and you can either just eat, after they're cured, you can just simmer them and eat them like you would corned beef, or if you prefer, put a pastrami rub on them, and I prefer. Okay, here we go. You just gave me all kinds of grief over my pineapple statement. Here's another one that'll show up on your archive of obscenities from Meathead.
All right.
The ultimate version of brisket is not Texas brisket.
Oh.
It's pastrami. If you want brisket taken to its ultimate prime, make pastrami out of it.
I agree, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, I've had pastrami. It's delicious. I mean, come on. I mean, that's hardly as controversial as saying that pineapple is the best thing to come off a grill.
Well, no, when I put up our pastrami recipe,
yes,
I don't think there were many barbecue people teaching pastrami recipes out there.
No, I agree with that. I mean, that was a long time ago.
First, if not, we were among the first. And I really nailed this recipe. It's maybe the best recipe on our website. And if you agree with that, then you have to say, well, Katz's Delicatessen, which has been in continuous operation since I think 1888 in Manhattan, is America's oldest barbecue joint.
Well, I mean, if they're smoking the briskets, then yes.
Yeah.
So
well,
it
freaks a lot of people out to hear that some kind of kosher deli is America's oldest barbecue joint, but they are they worked with Naval, but I'm pretty sure they're doing brisket now.
Yeah, it's brisket.
And it's just awesome stuff. Oh, you were just down there recently.
Yeah, just this past fall we were there, yeah.
It's just awesome stuff.
Yep.
And it's smoked brisket. Well, it's cured first. It's corned and then so you can do the same thing with the beef cheeks, and is what I'm getting at. And that's my favorite use of beef cheeks.
Question from Sean McCulligan. Which is more efficient in using a stick burner, longer or shorter splits? Like with a 3-inch diameter would be better a 6-inch long or a 12-inch long split?
I don't think length is what I worry about. It's diameter.
Okay.
If you've got a really large diameter piece, it's going to smolder a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we know that smoldering wood puts out a different compound mixture than burning wood. And I think it's generally accepted, both from the theoretical and scientific standpoint, as well as the practical standpoint in the field, that you want the wood to burn. You want yellow flame. Yellow flame tells you that the some of the impurities that can make the meat taste off are being burned up. When it's just smoldering and smoking billowing white smoke, that white smoke is often loaded with compounds that are not necessarily desirable. So the ultimate goal is burning wood with yellow flame and what they call blue smoke. It's smoke where the particles are so small that they don't refract light, and therefore it's called blue because you can almost see through it. Mm-hmm. It's got a slight blue tint. White smoke has larger particles, refracts the light, so you see more of it. And of course, you don't want anything to do with yellow, brown, or black smoke.
No. Dirty smoke. Next question from Jeremy Sherman. And this may be a relative question depending on what kind of pellet cooker you have, but he was looking for the best temperature to run a pellet cooker at for ribs.
Well, pellet cookers are really interesting. And I think by now most of your listeners may know that there is a new player in the field, and they've done some very clever things. Weber has a new product called Smokefire, and they're shipping now. They just started shipping. We're getting ours any day now. We have cooked on it. We were the first ones ever to cook on it. We cooked on it at Weber's Labs. Each one of them is slightly different. The Weber has a different cooking chamber that's got a lot more open space. Yeah. Some of them have a flat metal. Most of them have a big flat metal plate, yep, which is a lot like an indoor oven. They're really an indirect convection airflow cooker. And, of course, the type of pellets you use, they're not vastly different, but some of them are flavored with an oil. Some of them get their flavor just from, if it's cherry, it's pure cherry. Some of them are a blend of cherry and oak. So all of these vary. One of the things I try to do on AmazingRibs.com is make things simple and demystify and get past the nitpicking that people do about, well, you got to cook it at 236. In general, rule of thumb, I like to smoke at 225 on any type of cooker, a stick burner, a pellet smoker, a charcoal, whatever. Now, you can play with your own and dial in your own preferences, but that's a rule of thumb that I think works really well. And then if you're doing poultry, because the skin has got so much fat, you need to jack up the temp to 325 for chicken or turkey. And then what we call the warp 10 is give it all she's got, Scotty. And that's direct heat. Huh. And I'm going to riff for just 30 seconds, Greg, but it's really important that people understand this concept. People always tell me, well, my big green avocado goes up to 600 degrees. I don't care what the air temp is. Air temp is not very much full of energy, and I use this example often. You can go to your kitchen right now, turn your oven on to 200 degrees, 225, that's a good number, and when it's heated up, put your arm in there. You can actually hold your arm inside of a 225 oven. Sure. Now, put your hand on the side of that oven. It's also 225. When you get back from the hospital, you'll understand that 225 air temp is different than 225 metal temp. That different kinds of surfaces produce different energy. Metal distributes and holds more energy than air. And infrared radiation is another type of event for energy. Glowing red coals, flame, metal that glows red. When you cook directly over direct heat, you're cooking over infrared energy. And that's what you sear with. And that's what sears a steak. I don't care what the air temp is. I want to know that what you've got in the way of infrared. And you don't measure infrared with a thermometer. It's measured in calories. So the key here is to get a great steak, you just need to be over direct infrared radiant heat. I can sear a steak on a $30 hibachi better than I can on a big green avocado, because I can get right up close to really concentrated infrared, and it's really hard to do on a lot of grills, other grills. So it's a complicated concept. I write more about it in an article on thermodynamics of cooking and meat science, but infrared radiant heat is what you really, really need.
We're talking with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com, and you find him right here on the second Tuesday of every month. Hopefully, we've armed you with some good information for this coming Friday and answered some of your Facebook questions as well. Meathead, always appreciate the time, and we will look for you at the at the third month of quarter one mark here in 2020.
Always a pleasure, Greg. Always fun to talk to the barbecue king of the rock and roll city. And we're coming through Cleveland this summer.
Who's we?
My wife and I. We're on our way to Ithaca, New York.
Ithaca, nice.
I taught in Ithaca. My wife got her PhD there. We're going to go reunion with some old friends. So Cleveland's the midway mark, and we're going to be checking in with you.
All right, we're going to be partying down. There's Meathead. Meathead, we'll see you in March. There he goes. March. Meathead coming to Cleveland. A revelation right at the end. Wow. We will burn this city down. We've already done lakes before. No need to worry about that. Meathead is at AmazingRibs.com. On the Twitter... I have at Meathead, but it might be something different. We'll have to double check that. And we will be back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, this portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232 today. We thank Meathead from AmazingRibs.com for joining me the past 2 segments. And again, if you're just tuning in and you missed it, no worries. We are recording at this very same time as the live show is happening. And you can get the first hour coming up tomorrow morning, second hour on Thursdays. Now I have to quickly jump over to my Dropbox and make sure that I can tell you about what's coming up on Friday as well. We all know that's Valentine's Day, especially if you were paying attention. I'll just pull up this spreadsheet so I'm armed with the information. Meathead making it a very key point to mention that it doesn't matter how hot the air temperature in your grill is getting. Don't get fooled by that. You want the direct heat. That's why I like a lump. But you can use briquettes as well. Again, AmazingRibs.com. Meathead's here on the second Tuesday of every month, and we are pointing to the second hour. Go refresh your libations, and we'll be back right after this. Stick around.